motion's gonna pass to approve opening an account with CDW-G and Dell to procure network hardware. And monthly reports. Financial is myself. We have general fund, total expenses of $2,395.78, and that's weird. We got to figure out some way to let me know when it looks like that, because it's throwing me off. But I've been
When
catching
there's
it
an
lately.
income, you'll have
Yeah.
that line, so when
There's-
there isn't, then you
yeah.
don't need to worry about it, because there's none.
It just looks funny.
Yeah, and then on the utility fund, we have a total income of $33,007.85, and total expense of $19,028.16. And everything's been rolling pretty smooth, except for the electrical service, which
And
went
the
up
leaks.
quite a bit.
And the leaks.
Oh, that's, should be income, yeah, because late charges, it's negative out of the expenses, because it's actually up here in the income. Yeah, I don't know. I have to run over it with Conrad, but that's why it looks like in the negative, because it's not actually deducted out of there. The late charges are actually benefits of the income.
Right, because they're late charges for people paying late.
Yeah, so,
I'll get one now. I think you explained
yeah. Still working with energy on these stupid lights. They jacked it up, and now that our bill's about $250 more because of that. So that's why.
What is going on with this? This is too
I
much.
asked them to come out
This is too
and
much.
survey what we were supposed to have according to the bill and what we actually had, and they couldn't tell me. They said, well, it says in your bill you have 7 lights. And I said, well, show me where they're at. Because we got, they had one that wasn't working, and then the end of the street flickered all the time.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason we all started this was because somebody's been
The
dumping
dumpster guy,
illegally.
yes, I know
And we
that.
couldn't
Yes.
see him at
Yes.
night because there's no light, and that's when he got with the.
Well, when
that's
this
when we
thing came on,
started.
it's like, no wonder
Yeah.
everybody's moving.
Nobody,
I mean, it's like, how do you sleep in those
yeah,
houses?
it's
Crazy.
due to be changed because they,
I
as
came
soon as I
around
had a
the corner,
meeting
I
with
was like,
them,
"Dang."
they said they were gonna fix it because we were paying for 7 lights, so.
Well, they put
They-
7 lights in one.
All of a sudden, the next day, they sent somebody out without letting me know, and we had 2 huge lights.
Can we get Amber?
I told them, I was like, look,
Not stadium lights.
all I
Amber.
need is the parking lot lit up in front of the dumpster towards the incline driveway.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we don't know why they put 2 up there. And I said, well, you're the one who does the paperwork, not me. I just told you, hey, we need
Anyway,
this
fix
lit
it,
up.
cause it's ridiculous.
Well, there was supposed to be a technician that's coming out on the 27th to fix
Yeah,
it.
and you haven't been.
And they still haven't come out. So I already sent an email to them to say, hey, please contact me. I need a representative out here to fix this as soon as possible, because it's not just here. I'm getting complaints as far as River Ridge.
Dude, it's a lot, it's
River
bright.
Ridge?
Yes, I'm getting complaints from
It's-
Southwood
yeah,
Rock,
it's bright.
River Ridge.
But the
They're
other side of the corner,
coming
I'm
around
in my
saying that-
backyard, and I can't hardly see out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one.
Cause I got you Amber light
Yeah,
done.
They're going
You can walk
to,
in car at night, every little speck.
I told them-
Fines every time somebody jumps in.
I know that, but if they could just make it amber.
these are also $35 a light.
Yeah, take
And
it
I
back.
told them, I was like, no, get it off the pole. We're not paying for that.
Yeah.
Because the LED lights are only, I think, $17 or
Yeah, they're
$19 per light,
Mhm.
and the same output. And I told them, I said, I only want 1 on that pole, and not 2, and I want it aimed
We're
down
not
at our
protecting the
parking lot.
pool.
No, it's just
And
constant.
then there's also lights at the water treatment plant,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be moving them around a little bit because there's one that's
awkwardly
Well, if
way over
anything,
the
that can be
way.
lit up like Christmas time, then
Yeah.
that's fine.
But-
Here,
Folks gotta sleep when this ends.
this house right here will
Yeah.
never lease. Once it just moves with the dogs, it'll never lease.
Well,
Be like the Griswold.
But anyhow, that's why the electric bill is where it's at, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be getting straightened out as we move
Well,
forward.
good, okay.
Okay.
All
Well,
right,
okay,
good,
on
good,
those
good,
lights,
good.
if they wanna switch one out, that amber one I've got in my
All
house,
right, so now
they're
we
welcome to the amber one, but I mean, it's dark.
Well, if you're paying for that on
I
the
know,
electric bill,
I know that.
if you call them and let them know the LED lights are cheaper, you can get the amber LED lights as well. But a lot of
Amber, I
them,
want the light. That's the, but that's what I'm saying, 'cause the whole purpose of that light's light up my backyard.
if you have a pole in your backyard,
Yep.
you are allowed to call Entergy and say, I would like to request to have a light put on.
7-Eleven a month,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's
I've
for
got one
the
there.
100 watt.
yeah, that's what I have.
And if you get the 100 watt LED, it's a big 100 watt, but I mean, still, it light up your whole backyard. And then you got the 250. Yeah, that's still on.
Mhm.
And you get a flat rate per month bill.
I'm not paying for it, I'm just not satisfied with the light.
But when I'm sleeping, I see the bell right like on
It's like a 25-watt bulb burning right there.
All right. We have the ad valorem, we have a few things to discuss with that. Mr. Guy Griswold is gonna run over that for us.
Yeah, we've got several things. The first thing though, I'll cover the January report. And 2019 taxes are now delinquent. Last day to pay them was January 31st. And if you look at page 5, I think you'll see it clear that for 2019 tax year, the levy was 34,136.48. We've collected through January 19,463.92 of that. That's 57.02%. That is not the lowest, but the next lowest percentage at the end of the current year that we've had. And again, most of that is you've got properties that, you got one next to you, Mayor, and I got a call from an attorney on that, and he wanted a statement of, it goes back to 2014.
Yeah.
And I prepared it and gave it to him. First comment we've had from anybody.
Yeah, I know
In
it's
2
coming.
years.
Thank goodness.
The representative in Conroe told me that they was on their list this year.
Yeah, well, they got their information, so, but taxes are protected. Ultimately, they'll be paid, plus penalty and interest.
That'll be a good thing.
And so it's just a matter of working through getting the properties that are not paying are primarily properties that are still vacant. There's some that the owners have chosen not to pay woodlot. They've chosen to pay the school taxes and the county taxes. I've got that information, and the reason why is they're subject to them getting after them in the courthouse.
Yeah.
Much quicker than woodlot would be.
Yeah.
You can't afford to take delinquent taxpayers to court. You can't afford the attorney fees.
Yeah.
And you have to put all that money up front, and then you get it back whenever the taxes are collected. Your best position is just to sit pat on these delinquents and monitor what the county's doing and Conroe School.
Now, I got a question regarding that. There's a certain investor that had purchased quite a few homes inside of town that I've got notice that they had filed bankruptcy. Now, all those homes are now sitting vacant,
That's right.
and I'm pretty sure you're not gonna see a tax payment on them
No,
until
we
something.
didn't. The only ones that he paid a very few, like 3,
Yeah,
and he did that because
There was renters in it?
They were gonna, you know, the people who were proposing to move in and start paying,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't gonna do that as long as there were delinquent taxes, outstanding taxes. So he selectively paid those.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing I have is, unless you have any questions on the regular monthly report, is 2 refunds. You're gonna give back about $582.37. If you will remember, the appraisal district certified the roll at the end of January. We calculated the rate, and the deadline to bill current taxes is October 1st. I met that deadline. I billed all of the accounts that were current for 2019 at the certified value from the appraisal district. The chief appraiser, in meeting with you, Mayor, decided to allow late file protests on some properties. And as a result of that, those properties went before the appraisal review board and got a reduction. It was a late file, they got a late reduction. I'd already billed the 2019 taxes on those properties. Well, in 2 instances, the mortgage company, in one case, the bank, in the other, paid the original amount. When they got the bill that I sent out, they immediately paid it, or put it in their process to be paid. And then here comes a correction along, and I issued a revised statement based on the correction from the appraisal district. Well, we've got 2 properties that the taxes, original tax amount have been paid, and a lesser amount is correctly due. So I'm bringing to you an authorization for the town of Woodlock to refund the overpayment on these 2 accounts. One account is Lot 28, Block 2, Whispering Oaks 1, which is 2682 South Woodlock, and the property owner is on council, Andrew Rutherford. The original tax paid with no correction was $685.12. After he brought to the appraisal district's attention that there was a lot of things not done, and they figured it was 100% complete. It certainly was not. And they reduced the value, taxable value, to $75,210, which resulted in a revised 2019 property tax due of $270.76. There is now a refund due of $414.36 for 2019 on that account. And my authorization you have before you, every council has one, is that refund be approved.
Yay.
You wanna take them individually, or you wanna?
Well, we'll just take them as, unless they need to be individually, we're just gonna, I'm gonna put it to the city council
There's-
to approve both of them
Okay.
and.
Well,
issue
let me
refunds.
give the facts on the other one. The other one is 2617 North Woodlock, and the property owner is Ralph W. Leano Jr. The original tax bill was $348.01. And his mortgage company paid that. They were advised not to pay it because a corrected bill was in the mail. They decided to pay it anyway because it was approaching the deadline. They paid it on January 30th. So, the correct tax due is $180 after application of the correction from the appraisal review board and application of your exemption. So that creates an overpayment of $168.01, which my authorization, which is signed and authorizes you to refund the $168.01. That one will go to the bank that holds the escrow on your property. The other one, Mr. Rutherford's, will go to a mortgage company that's serviced by CoreLogic. And I've provided the city secretary with the addresses and a letter to transmit the refunds once you approve them.
Okay, so what we're putting before the city council under the ad valorem for today is to approve the refunds of 2 overpayments back to the mortgage companies which have overpaid from an escrow account. So if I could get a motion and a second from council to approve to reimburse the mortgage companies for the overage paid, unless there's any questions or concerns.
I motion.
Ms. Belinda Hackerman's gonna make a motion, and Mr. Gerald Mink's gonna second. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. All right, all in favor of approving, say aye. All opposed, nay. Motion's gonna pass. All right, and that'll be good, it's approved, and now the city secretary will issue reimbursements to the appropriate mortgage companies. And
One's a bank and the other one's a mortgage company. And she has all that and their address.
Okay.
I
Was there
have
any
one-
others that came through by chance? So,
Well, let me explain. There were a couple that came through, but no payment had been made, so when they got the revised statement, the only payment they made was the
so the
corrected statement.
The main reason for this whole mix-up is because we have escrow accounts, and they're done by way up, and they
Yeah.
paid it before it even gets.
And they're not gonna take on penalty and interest. They're gonna pay it before the due date because it comes out of their pocket, not out of the property owner.
All right.
I got one last thing.
Yes, sir.
At the 86 Texas legislature, which was the one ending in this last year,
Yes, sir.
the legislature authorized the comptroller of public accounts to appoint a 15-member board called the Property Tax Administration Advisory Board. And it's to advise the comptroller on matters concerning property tax administration and oversight of appraisal districts statewide.
Oh, wow.
And the board will hold its first meeting this Thursday in Austin. And to the appointments have been made of the 15 people. And one is Guy E. Griscom, CAE. So.
All right.
You can have that
Very
copy.
good, yeah, congratulations.
But there's a downside.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
And that is, there is a good possibility that I can only stay on through July 31st is assessor collector for town of Woodlawn.
Okay.
That will give us enough time, if you want me to work with you, to see what options we can come up with to take over August 1st,
Yes,
okay?
okay.
So,
Oh, wow.
I've done it for 35 years, I get to say no more.
Hasta la vista.
Pero oiga,
So you're gonna be on the state board?
I'm gonna
Advise
be on
people
that
from-
advisory board
Nice.
of 15 people, there's a list of the people there.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's really
I
good.
just
And-
wanna say, that's kind of like a big statewide.
Congratulations, Guy.
That is.
So, that's what I'll be doing.
Advising.
Remember us little people on the way.
Moving
don't
on.
have me, God.
So now I'm through. You can have me.
Thank you.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, please get with us to advise us
Yeah,
on where to go from here. And,
I've got to turn everything over to you by the end of July for there's 5 years of stuff that has to be maintained.
yes, sir.
And then I've got to turn over whatever is current to whoever is going to go forward with it.
Or still be there for whenever I need to question.
But, yeah, but we can discuss in the meeting, we can get
Yes.
together and discuss options.
Okay,
Are
thank
you
you.
able to, recommendation for somebody to take the spot?
Sure, I can do that if I'm asked to.
Yes,
Of
sir.
course.
We'll have a meeting and me and Ms. Palmer will go over and then I'll bring everything to the council and we'll go from there. Well, I appreciate you and thank you for your report as well.
Congratulations.
I can have them approve that nothing has to change until the end of the current, tax cycle, which is, July 31st.
Okay. All right. Well, top that, Jason. Your turn.
Wow, that's my drop deal.
Okay, what do you got for us?
So I have, so we talked about it last month. Yeah, we talked about it last month that, we fixed some leaks. Those leaks that we fixed, billing cycle runs from the 21st to the 21st. The leaks happen on the 6th of the month, so that's why we. So, a resident on River Oaks decided that they needed to replace the fence. And what they did is there was a chunk of concrete in the, way of the fence. So instead of removing a chunk of concrete, he took a 16-pound sledgehammer and decided he was gonna break it into the dirt. So he drove a chunk of concrete into a 6-inch water main on River Oaks.
Now, before we go any farther, no notification, no marks, no nothing was made.
Nothing.
Okay, just wanna make sure everybody understands that.
So, whenever you break PVC, it doesn't just crack long ways, it cracks lengthwise.
Yeah.
So that was about a 8-foot split that we had to replace. And I think that he, that was into.
So pretty much, he sent me a picture of a hole that you could sink this table in.
Yep.
From here to the second row of the audience.
Go away then.
So the leak was so bad that we had to shut down the pressure on the boost pumps.
When was that?
That was the low pressure there for
Was
a
that
couple
the
days, a whole weekend we were on low pressure.
Around
That's
the
why my
sixth.
water was.
Yeah, we had to-
Understood low pressure.
Yeah, we had to shut down the pressure because if we.
I got it up quick, you got it up within a day or two, but still, it was there was
Yeah.
about 3 days we had really low water pressure throughout the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Anybody that digs, part of that is, we used one set of repair clamps first that didn't hold. There's a clamp it's called the IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
IMAX clamp did not work. The next clamp that is, best for it is a Megalux kit. That kind of grips yourself. Water lines that are over there are, Megalux is really made for C900s, really much thicker pipe. What that is, it's a pre-torque screw that you screw down and it clamps and holds it. It's not, you can't use it on schedule for it, you gotta be careful, because when it grips, it can really break the
Yeah.
pipe again. So that's not our first method. On River Oaks or anywhere around here, it's nothing but sand. So once we made that repair, we had to run that low pressure to make sure that things stick. because there's really no support of the sand once it gets washed out, so.
Yeah.
That's kind of the reason why it was, ran it for a couple of longer days with lower pressure, so that way we make sure that they get the same. There was 2 leaks down at the sewer plant. There was another one that we had to fix at midnight at Mr. Pratt's house, or Mrs. Pratt.
That's the one I called about.
Yeah, that's what I meant to talk about. So,
Is that on my side?
Yeah, well, no, on,
To the other lady?
yeah, Miss Pratt on the north one.
along with, fixing 4 leaks, a major main break, in addition to that, is that we were on the phone, Carmen and I, while we were reading 2 hours before that, still with RG3. Instead of waiting to get 15 registers back, we're still trying to come back to this issue with them. We found that, I was on the phone with RG3, they remoted into the computer while we did the reading, and, we removed 24 more registers and sent them in. So right now, we've got 40 registers at RG3 that we're trying to get back.
That's
Out of
crazy.
40, yes, it is.
That
The
is-
thing is, all that, I've already made sure that that is warranty, there's no, this is still.
Yeah.
40 registers back, we sent 12, but well, it's roughly 33 or 32.
Wow.
So with that is, so the major thing is the main break that happened, was a lot of water.
Yeah, that flooded the street down the road.
Yeah, so that is, so with that, and the registers that we sent back were 70%. We had them hanging in at 90, and we thought that was bad.
We were, yeah.
Now we're at 70 for this month. So, put that into perspective though,
If there weren't no leaks, we would be in the 90-something percentile.
yeah, it's still, when you're talking about 1 million gallons of water versus 200. If we were pumping 10 million gallons a day, you'd lose this amount of water. You're still at 97%. So, just whenever, everything on a lower magnitude of what we use per day gets magnified with the percentage goes, 1% is.
And I have a question, Jason, at the front of Southwell Block, it's noticeably been wet even before this rain
Yeah,
here.
see mine.
Something's happening.
So,
My country wet.
yes,
Yeah.
what we always do
Something
is,
wrong.
it's nothing but sand. Even whenever they dug 4 foot just for the archaeological dig, they're in water and it's nothing but sand. So, anytime that we see, now what we do is we run a higher chlorine residual here. We run in the tubes for that reason. And anytime that we see water, especially down by the sewer plant, we always take it.
Test it.
And test it. What we do is, put a vial, it's called a DPD reagent. Anytime we put that in water, and it's chlorine, it turns pink. So we always test, that's a constant procedure for us, is checking the water.
This
coming in.
entire neighborhood is very awkward when it comes to watershed,
Well, sure.
because the elevation will play tricks on your eyes. You can go to one end and think that you're looking downhill, but really it's down, up, down. And all that water accumulates in the bottoms, and we have a clay pan layer of dirt that's been brought in, and all that water settles in the bottoms, and then on a dry week, everything just still stays wet there,
Well, down
Yeah.
on the ends, but not at the front.
yeah, but that's that first hump.
That's why I'm wondering, it's.
About where,
it's been
in
wet.
front of where your house is.
It's been wet more.
On
It's been
South
wet
Wazam,
too.
it stays wet right there.
Yeah.
Now.
So, we'll continue to look. I'll tell,
I mean, I know it's all the
I've got a
infrastructure, I mean, I get it.
Kind of related to water. You mentioned a couple meetings back about a circle that we have, what do you call it? The range of, yeah, the ETJ,
That's
whatever.
the ETJ.
Yeah.
And you said that there's houses across the street that we should have got.
Not necessarily should have got, but the construction should have come through the town.
What about that new corner from here in the schoolhouse?
That's also,
Yeah, they're-
been built by
they're-
the same contractor,
Yeah.
same
So are we gonna
bonds.
get any kick?
Mike, you wanna?
That's a
lean in
whole
on that?
bag of worms that we're
It's a
working on.
it's a big issue.
Cause I mean, they're steady coming down this way even, building new houses.
Well, this is their last phase.
That's their
Well,
last
that's a-
phase right
But
there.
they're still building in this phase as well, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But once all that's done, then they're done, Montgomery Creek Ranch is done.
There's nothing I can physically just run out and stop them from doing.
Not only stop, I mean, get our benefit.
Called the Office of Attorney Generals who approved their bonds, because their bonds are written inside of a mud district. And they have said they've assigned a case manager to look into it. But the Office of Attorney General is not gonna be too happy to turn around and say they
Until Congress,
approved
they
a
don't get that
bond
money.
that should not have been approved.
It's a
So,
mess.
a caseworker is just a glorified person who's gonna look at it and try and convince me to back off.
There's a lot of houses going from here in schoolhouse.
Yeah, I've got an exact count, it's over 470 houses that could have been negotiated to be on our water system. So, that, like I said, that's a big bag of worms.
Got
that
all
we
tracked,
can't
but when I
jump
seen them
into
on
right
the
now.
corner, I thought about that.
Yeah. But, if you like, I can sit down and go over what I have so far, but
I just wanted to-
it's not something that financially we're able to go full swing into that.
All right, Jason, we good on everything else?
Yeah, you can see the January pumpage for this spiked to 1.5.
Yeah.
Because of the
Flush outs and the leaks and everything.
So, beginning of the month, last month, January ended, and then we're only the 10th before, the new month comes out, so I don't have, I just got it after I did the report. Sewer plant is fine, still standing,
Yep.
and we had, we didn't, at the time I didn't have any of the report back from the lab, but I got it this afternoon, I don't have any excursions, so.
Okay.
We're good there, I just don't have the information on the report.
Well, that's all fairly good
The
news.
historical pumpage is
It's
good.
I couldn't follow
So,
the guy
if
with
we
the
can
bank,
get
so I
some,
had-
if we can get some meters back and no more leaks, then hopefully we'll have a 90-something percentage next month. All right, Mr. Mike, you got a list to go over.
All right, couple things on my list. And I've kind of revised my report a little bit to show the wastewater treatment plant as item number 1, which is the Texas Water Development Board State Revolving Fund. I'm sorry, that's the pressure tank. I was even confused there. So the pressure tank, we have submitted all the documents to TWDB. They came back with a couple changes. I went over those with Ralph before the meeting. He signed the form that we need, and I need one more signed from Shear Construction, which is the contractor. Once I have those up to the state and their approval, then we'll be issuing contracts and those to proceed. So probably here in the next couple of weeks. Item number 2 is the wastewater treatment plant. That is the TWDB Hurricane Harvey Emergency Clean Water State Revolving Fund, and the GLO Tax Day, Memorial Day, and Flood Day, or Tax Day and Memorial Day flood. So I have here a set of 75% drawings on the sewer plant. Show you that we are moving forward. There's a few changes I need to make as I plotted them out. I saw. I'm gonna leave them with whoever wants them. I'm just gonna leave them with Jason. If you want another set, I'll bring it to you. But in here, it has the plants. There's a picture of it. There's an isometric view, which is basically how it will look. There's gonna be a few changes to it. We're gonna have to elevate these, and there's some blowers in it.